The Stephen A. Smith Show starts right now.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do every weekday over the airwaves of ESPN Radio and ESPN News. 250 plus markets across the United States of America. Check your AM, FM listing nearest you, plus ESPN Radio on Sirius XM, Channel 80, plus ESPN Radio simulcast over the live national television airwaves of ESPN News. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. The Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Pick from a range of coverage options with the Name Your Price tool to find a price that works for you. Time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Lots of stuff to get into today. Some blasphemy going on in the world of the NBA. I'll tell you what I'm talking about as the show progresses today. That's definitely one thing we shall get into. Patrick Mahomes, what he's been bringing to the table, the likes of which we haven't seen. That's something that's interesting to get into in and of itself, because who knows what that's going to turn into as well. Danny Dimes, a.k.a. Daniel Jones, somehow, some way has earned a nickname after just one game in the National Football League as a starting quarterback. All of a sudden, he's a savior. We could talk about that clearly as the show progresses today. But the first order of business, of course, is Thursday Night Football. The Philadelphia Eagles are scheduled to go up against the Green Bay Packers. Before I forget, there will be a discussion today on the topic of weed in the National Football League. Because evidently there's a lot of people out there that have a problem with my position on professional athletes using or engaging in cannabis, a.k.a. marijuana, for recreational purposes. Just for the record, I have no issue whatsoever with marijuana being used for medicinal purposes. Recreationally, that is something that we can definitely discuss and engage in dialogue about as the show progresses today. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. If you read the numerous articles that are out there today, it's about Thursday Night Football. It's about the Philadelphia Eagles traveling to Lambeau Field to go up against the Green Bay Packers on Thursday Night Football. After beating the Washington Redskins in the opener, the Eagles have dropped 2 straight to the Atlanta Falcons, who they would have beaten if Nelson Agholor had caught that pass scampering down the left sideline, and the Detroit Lions. If this rookie, Whiteside, had caught his pass, they would have won that game. But nevertheless, the Eagles lost both games. They are 1-2 on the season. They are 2 games back of the first place Dallas Cowboys, who, by the way, have their own challenge coming up this Sunday in New Orleans against the Drew Brees-less New Orleans Saints, being led by Teddy Bridgewater since Drew Brees is out with that thumb injury. Now, if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, Deshaun Jackson is out with an abdomen injury. Alshon Jeffrey has been out with the calf, but could be back. Tight end Dallas Goedert, he's out with a calf injury as well. They've already missed large chunks of the last 2 games. But both Jeffrey and Goddard are expected to play Thursday night. The Green Bay Packers, meanwhile, are undefeated. They've been one of the surprising teams in the National Football League, beating defending NFC champion, North champion, Bears, Chicago Bears. They've also beaten the Minnesota Vikings, two teams within their division. And they've also beaten Vic Fangio's Denver Broncos in their first year under new coach Matt LaFleur. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's make sure we understand something. And something really, really good. And if I sound a little bit hazy or whatever, my allergies are acting up, I apologize. That's how it goes sometimes, y'all. That's how it goes. When I look at the Philadelphia Eagles, and they're going up against these Packers, the Packers, for once under Aaron Rodgers, hasn't appeared to be that explosive. 286.7 yards per game. That's fifth worst in the league. They only scoring 19.3 points per game. That ranks 23rd. And all three offenses that the Eagles have faced thus far this season have been more prolific than them. But they don't have that bad man, Aaron Rodgers. Washington, Atlanta, Detroit, they don't have Aaron Rodgers. And how long do you think that Aaron Rodgers is going to struggle? He's got a new coach. And along with having a new coach, let us please understand that Aaron Rodgers eventually going to figure it out. He's just trying to get along, y'all. I got news for you. He's Aaron freaking Rodgers. If you think for 1 second that any level of ineptitude that he may be putting on display at this particular moment in time is going to last, you need to get your head examined. Or you need to get a history lesson in who the hell Aaron Rodgers is and what he is all about. He's only completed 61% of his passes right now. 4 touchdowns. Notice he hasn't had an interception, though. He doesn't beat himself. He's Aaron freaking Rodgers. And while I'm willing to concede that times have changed, that Patrick Mahomes is that new dude on the block talent-wise, let's be very, very clear. Aaron Rodgers is something special. Still got Devontae Adams. Still got Geronimo Allison. Still has Scantling. He's Aaron freaking Rodgers. And I got news for you. You better pay attention, ladies and gentlemen. He's coming. If you're the Philadelphia Eagles, you have to hope and pray beyond hope and prayer that Aaron Rodgers continues to struggle for week 4 of this NFL season. This week, we'll officially be 25% into the 2019 NFL season. Let me tell you something about these Philadelphia Eagles right now. I think Carson Wentz is getting too much heat and too much blame. Have you not seen the passes that the Eagles have dropped? Have you not seen it? It's Whiteside. It's you know, you just look at it. Him, Aguilar, fumbles all over. The Eagles have been a mess. I can't point the finger at Carson Wentz. I'm watching this brother fling the football. He's putting it right where it belongs. And cats ain't getting it done. Plain and simple. 11 dropped passes this season, most in the National Football League. That's what Carson Wentz has been suffering from. And we're going to sit up there and talk about his 61% completion percentage? Come on. It ain't his fault. Carson Wentz, when healthy, is a bad brother. He's something special. He can really, really play. And I really, really think that we got to look at this and just cut the guy a break. Because I really, really don't believe it's fair. I look at him right now and I'm saying, listen, the Eagles got to get it together. Because let me be very, very clear with what I'm about to say. If the Philadelphia Eagles lose tonight's game, there's no way in hell they're winning the NFC East. Now, obviously, a lot of it has to do with injury. When you look at the situation with Jackson going down, with Alshon Jeffrey going down, with Goddard going down, and both of them missing the vast majority of the last 2 games, both losses. That's a problem. So we can't ignore that. We really can't. There's no way around it. But nobody cares. The Dallas Cowboys haven't suffered that malady. Randall Cobb, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, Ezekiel Elliott, Dak Prescott, the offensive line. People talking about, oh my goodness, they're not blocking for Carson Wentz in Philadelphia. Excuse me. He holds on to the ball. He scrambles outside of the pocket. Chances are, in most instances, you got folks assuming that he done got rid of the football already. Could that have something to do with it? I think so. That's the way I look at it. So what's up with this notion, this belief that suddenly Carson Wentz don't know how to play quarterback? He holding on to the ball too long. They're not blocking for him. They don't want to play for him. I don't get that from the Philadelphia Eagles at all. They could have easily been 3-0 right now. It's not good that they lost to Atlanta. It's not good that they lost to Detroit. But let me tell you something. They could easily be 3-0 right now. But they are not. And meanwhile, the Dallas Cowboys are rolling. And so if you're the Eagles, you got to take a stand right now. You got to look at your ninth-ranked offense. You got to say, we got to do something. Eagles are 29th against the pass. That is bad news for a secondary about to go up against Aaron Rodgers. I'm here to tell you. That is a problem. And I usually don't bet against my man Aaron Rodgers, but I'm hoping he loses tonight because I think his season will be just fine. It's the Eagles that are on the brink. And make no mistake about it, it's a brink because it's not too early. If they lose and the Dallas Cowboys win this Sunday against New Orleans, the Eagles are 3 games back. You combine that with the fact that you get 2 against Dallas, you'd have to win both. And then, oh, by the way, you'd still be a game back if you won both. This is urgent. And then when you scour the NFC, let's look at this. You got to have a division winner, right, that's automatically going to the playoffs. So whether it's New Orleans in the NFC South, the LA Rams in the West, let's say, for example, hypothetically, it would be Chicago in the North. And then you had Dallas. Well, your wild card spot, you're competing with Seattle, Green Bay, Minnesota, and Atlanta for the wild card spot at this particular moment in time. That's 4 different teams outside of yourself. 5 altogether. What do you think the Eagles' chances are getting in the playoffs under those conditions? I would say they're not very good. So it's incredibly imperative that the Philadelphia Eagles win tonight. You Miles Sanders can't be dropping the ball. Can't be dropping the ball, can't be fumbling the ball. I'd like to see Darren Sproles more involved, personally. Alshon Jeffrey, welcome back. Nelson Aguilar, no more dropped passes. Mac Hollins, no more dropped passes. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, no more dropped passes, damn it. It was 2 Sunday. And can we pray beyond prayer? That Deshaun Jackson will hurry up, get his butt back on that lineup. Because good God, do they need him. They really, really need Deshaun Jackson. They need that deep threat, creating space underneath for Zach Ertz. So the Philadelphia Eagles offense, devoid of a stout running game, by the way, there's no Ezekiel Elliott on their roster, can get back to doing what it does. Generating points through the air. That's what they need to do. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. You are listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. That's one thing to get into. Here's another. It's time for the Dallas Cowboys to pay Dak Prescott. You see, as I watch Daniel Jones, I mean, John, did you know he got a nickname now? Danny Dimes. You know that? Danny Dimes. One game. Brother got a nickname. Reminds you of Jimmy Garoppolo, right? When my girl Molly Karam and everybody else was calling him Jimmy G. And then we saw that video of him in L.A. out with a porn star, so I called him Porn Star Jimmy. I like that nickname much, much better, by the way. So we have a situation where we look at and we fast forward to Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes. Plays for the New York Giants, plays one game, comes out of Duke, drafted 6th overall, plays one game, throws over 300 yards, throws for 2 touchdowns, runs for 2 more. Clearly, an impressive showing, an impressive beginning, no doubt. We wish him nothing but luck, because the better the Giants is, the better football in the New York tri-state area is, and that's all good. But here is where we have a problem. So we want to rave about him and just bypass Dak Prescott, huh? We just want to look at Dak Prescott, who's completing better than 70% of his passes, who's undefeated, who's watched as Jalen Smith has gotten paid, La'el Collins has gotten paid, Ezekiel Elliott has gotten paid, all by Jerry Jones. But your starting QB, the successor to Tony Romo, who has not missed a single game or a single start in 51 tries in his 3 years and 3 games that he's been the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. He shows up to work every day. He's a consummate professional every day. He's a 2-time Pro Bowler. He's winning more games than he's losing. He's got you to the postseason twice. And he's in line to get a contract in the ballpark of about $130 to $140 million. Russell Wilson is the highest paid quarterback at $35 million. Ben Roethlisberger is number 2 this year at $34 million. Dak Prescott just quietly goes about the business of showing up, handling his business. And you going to send him out on the football field, Jerry and Stephen Jones, with $2 million? You going to do that to him? You know good and damn well he could get hurt this Sunday. You know good and damn well how violent of a sport football is. Ezekiel Elliott has gotten himself suspended. He's gotten himself in trouble. What happens? You still go out and pay him. La'el Collins was a member of that offensive line that looked suspect for you last year. You went out and paid him. And by the way, I have no problem with either of them getting paid. I would have paid both of them because I believe Ezekiel Elliott deserves it. La'el Collins deserves it. I got it. And you want to procrastinate with the wide receiver? That's predictable. It makes sense. That happens with wideouts in the National Football League. I get it. But your star quarterback, who is a star, who has been nothing but a consummate professional and a model citizen for your franchise for the last 3 years and 3 games, Dak Prescott, you're going to sit up there and make this young brother wait to get his money. I think the Dallas Cowboys should be ashamed of themselves. I really, really do. The man is completing 74.5% of his passes. 920 passing yards, 9 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions, a quarterback passer rating of 128. What's the problem? Y'all gonna just throw him out there, huh? And you weak, pathetic, preoccupied Dallas Cowboy fans, just the trifling people that y'all are, knowing that you've got a gem like this, y'all don't even appreciate him. Y'all make me sick. Got me up here defending a Cowboy. I mean, what the hell has this world come to? I am defending a Dallas Cowboy. Dak Prescott not only deserves his money, he deserves it now. Right now. He's earned it. We sitting up in here in New York acting like Daniel Jones is Dak Prescott. We've got commentators and pundits on the air right now talking about how Daniel Jones is better than Baker Mayfield. He's one of the best young quarterbacks after one game. Brother didn't even have a chance to pass gas or burp. And y'all already raving about him. Dak Prescott just comes to work every day. Does the interviews the way he's supposed to. Answers questions the way he's supposed to. Practices the way that he's supposed to. And performs at a relatively elite level right now. I got him number 2 in league MVP voting right now. He's thrown for 920 yards, 9 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions. Has a 3-0 record. I got him number 2 right now to Patrick Mahomes. And we all know why Patrick Mahomes is number 1. He's also 3-0. He's thrown for 1,195 yards. He's got 10 touchdowns, not a single interception, completing 71.9% of his passes. He's on pace to pass for 6,000 yards this year, to break Peyton Manning's all-time single-season passer record of 5,400 plus yards by 1,000 yards. That Patrick Mahomes. That is the only reason Dak Prescott right now is not the leading candidate for league MVP honors. Only reason. Only reason. And y'all gonna just sit here and ignore this brother like this. Y'all should be ashamed of yourself. You stinking low-life Cowboy fans. Y'all make me sick. All this bloviating about everything Cowboys. We them boys. We making noise. But when it comes to Dak Prescott, you quiet. Quiet as a mouse. Won't even come to his defense. I got some of you stinking no good Cowboy fans calling up to this show. I don't know about Dak, man. I mean, I don't know about him, I mean, he all right. He all right, Stephen A. But, I just don't know if he that dude. I just don't know if he the one. Never mind that he had Scott Linehan. Never mind that there was no Amari Cooper. Never mind that he had Cole Beasley as a slot receiver instead of Randall Cobb, even though Cole Beasley is actually doing a good job in Buffalo right now, who's also undefeated. Never mind all of that. Oh, no, Stephen A. I mean, come on, dog. I mean, come on, man. I mean, come on. Oh, shut up. Y'all are pathetic. It's one of the reasons why you ain't gonna win. I'm trying to tell you something right now. This is football. It's incredibly violent. You don't send your star quarterback out there wondering about his contract when he's been the model of consistency that Dak Prescott has been for this franchise. I like Jerry Jones. That's my buddy. Stephen Jones, I like him too. In the offseason, we're going to go out for a drink or something. I like those guys. But I disagree with them here. All joking aside, you don't wait to pay Dak. You got to pay him now. He should have been paid before Ezekiel Elliott. He really should have. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. You are listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. We'll get to your phone calls. Got a lot of stuff coming on. My man Sal Palantonio, NFL reporter extraordinaire. He'll be calling to talk to us about the Eagles, who he covers religiously. Lives right outside of Philadelphia. He's synonymous with the Philadelphia Eagles franchise. So there's a lot to talk to him about. Plus, I'm going to get into the subject of weed in the National Football League, particularly after some of the very, very revealing and candid things that Megatron himself, Charles Johnson, formerly of the Detroit Lions, now retired, revealed about the NFL and its drug policy. You do not want to miss that. So stick around. Don't touch that dial. You're listening live to Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News. By the way, by now you've probably heard me talk about my computer career and think, nope, not me. I don't know the first thing about computers. Well, that's okay. You don't have to. Before they started, many of their graduates could turn a computer on and off. And that's it. Now they're IT professionals. And you can do it too. Go to my computer career.